Civis pacem Parabellum. Many of you are familiar with that phrase. In Latin, means if you want peace, prepare for war, right? Parabellum is the name of my new book coming out this fall. Prepare for war. Well, a lot of people have been interested in what this thing was with Trump calling, and Hegseth actually, but Trump calling all the flag officers back to a meeting at Quantico. And I saw videos, we're going to war and this and that. And I had contacted a couple of people that I knew who were in positions to know. And I said, is this, is he realigning some things, and he wants everybody back at this one location so that they won't be at their bases, when he gives them certain news, so that they can't screw up things at their bases before he sends in replacements? Or is it they're being called on the carpet, or they all anyway? And the people that I contacted said, yeah, I'd kind of go along with that. I wasn't in the military. I'm just guessing. I know the world, though. I know how things work. And they said, yep, I think that's about it. So, but we had a lot of people out there making videos. I didn't make one on this. You just wouldn't. There are these things that are of interest, but you just can't be running around in circles and setting your hair on fire every time something like this happens. And I know it's great fodder for videos, and it gets a lot of clicks and all that. But, dealing with the truth is a lot better than dealing with conjecture, right? So I watched yesterday. I watched Hegseth's speech, and Trump. Watched the whole thing. Hegseth gave a heck of a speech. That guy wasn't using notes as far as I could see, and he was just on. You know what I get a kick out of? I get a kick out of all these people. I was going to say lefties, but I see it on other channels too, who claim to be, conservative patriots and all that, calling Hegseth just nothing but a Fox News commentator. They apparently don't know his background. Anyway, he gave a heck of a speech, and he said his main message is, no more guys in dresses, and no more DEI in the military, and we're going back to being war fighters. That's where we're changing the name of the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. And he gave exactly what I think is the right answer, because this idea, what was it? Let's see, I want to give proper credit. Oh, I may have to go down a rabbit hole with you here in a second. Let me do it here. I was sent some things. I mentioned this on the previous video. I was sent a whole bunch of material yesterday by a guy, very well connected, in the know, retired military, still in the job, still in the, but civilian, still in the game. Okay. One of the things was an interview that he sent me about, and I forget the guy's name, fascinating interview, about the creation of the CIA, out of the old OSS, and the NSA, NSC, National Security Council. And one of the things that the guy covered was the mistake that was made when we changed the name of the Department of War to the Department of Defense. He says because that had a negative effect on not only how people thought, but how we did things. And I agree. I've said before, you don't win a game with defense. You might keep your opponent from getting points, but you don't win. You got to put your own points on the board. And so he went into quite a bit of detail. I don't know if I'll put this up. I may put this up on the Patreon. It's quite a lengthy interview. I may. We'll see. But the effect that it had on our military and on the thinking of the civilian leadership, meaning the politicians, changing the name from the Department of War to the Department of Defense, and how the negative effect that had. Okay. And so changing it back to the Department of War is exactly right. Doesn't mean we're going to war like so many of these people. They get on, we're going to war because Trump wants war. And blah, blah, blah. Guys, you got to be careful who you listen to. Okay. But Hegseth says, you know what? No more DEI crap. None of this BS. No dudes in dresses. No more fat generals and or soldiers. No more different standards. You know, that anybody in the combat arms is going to have to measure up to male standards, whether they're male or female. If they can't cut it, then they shouldn't be in the job. Excellent. It's what so many of us have been saying now for what, 40 years? But he laid it out to him. And one of the things he said, he says, well, I'm talking to you. All of this is now being sent to, everything that I'm saying is being sent to your inboxes. And if you can't measure up, you can either leave or you'll be separated. And everybody's going to have to measure up to physical training standards, including 4 stars. I mean, I don't know how many pull-ups a 55-year-old 4-star who's been sitting at a desk. Now, not all of them are like it. I mean, I know there's a lot of the guys, a lot of the officers who keep themselves in prime shape. I also know there's a lot who don't, right? I would love to be there trying to see these guys, these guys have been bound to their desks and martinis for years, trying to get those push-ups and pull-ups done. He says that's the business of the Department of War, to be the war fighters of the country. And he went into a lot of detail, but that's it. That's the basics. And I watched occasionally they showed the crowd, and I tried to study the faces to see what what the reception was. You can't really do it. Those guys are politicians. I mean, anybody who's been in an organization, military, police, corporations, you get good at keeping a straight face, right? So, especially these guys, because they were called in. They didn't know why they were there. They didn't know if they were getting separated or if they were ever going back to their station or what, So I'm sure there was a lot of puckers in that room. And I imagine there was a lot of puckers that remained, and I imagine there was a lot of grumbling later. There's probably an equal amount of grumbling, and others that said, well, it's about time. Good for we're going to actually have what the military is supposed to be again. And so we will see. And like one of, I'm not going to identify him, somebody on the Patreon channel messaged me. Says, well, I think there's going to be a lot of things done in the sidebar. All of the action is going to take place in the individual interviews. Yeah, we will see what happens. Then Trump came out, and he said, and I wasn't all that. His purpose was, I've got your back. We're going to return the military the way it should be, and as Trump does so often, and I like Trump. I'm a supporter of Trump. He gets to rambling, and he goes and he gets to, just like he did at Charlie Kirk's thing, he gets to self-aggrandizing, reminding everybody of all the wonderful things he's done. And he has done. I mean, he has done a lot of great things. I just wish that he'd stop talking about it so much. We can see it, I know he does it just to jab people and just to get people's goats. He does it to jab his opponents. I get it, but there are times that I wish that he wouldn't do it. Let your actions speak for what you do. But anyway, I didn't pay that much attention to his speech, and then it was over. And the whole thing is this. I'll probably entitle this one, "Are We Going to War?" And the answer is no, we're not going to war, but we're getting ready to if we have to. Civis pacem, parabellum. Would you rather have to go to war and not be ready? Remember what, was it Schwarzkopf who said, and he took heat for it, was it Schwarzkopf who said, you don't necessarily go to war with the army you want, you go to war with the army you have? Well, you know, with the exception of, and there's a lot of great people out there in the military. You know, I'm blessed to know a whole lot of excellent people in the military or have been in the military. I also have known more than my share of duds. And that's just the simple truth. And the duds shouldn't be there. I mean, I've worked with guys that came out of the Army and Air Force and came to work in the department I was in the private sector, and they were just horrible. I mean, just horrible. And they lasted for a while, you know, whatever. But nobody. But let me say this: I will say this. Let me give the Marines the props, and I'm not favoritism. I wasn't in the military. I never knew any of the Marines who weren't pretty darn good, pretty darn sharp when they came over. Well, and it was a security department in a major healthcare system. The Marines loved them. Navy and Army and Air Force, not so much. But those weren't the prime people. And I've got, I'd say more than half my friends are former military, and they are, I mean, at the top. Some of the best people in the world. Army. Okay. Don't know that many Navy guys. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I live in Kansas. But anyway, I know a lot of Marines. They're top notch. But yeah, Schwarzkopf was right. You go to war if you have to go to war with the military that you have. And what they're doing now, in my opinion, is they're switching over from the military that they have, which is full of some, not full of, but it contains some duds. They're getting rid of the duds. And they are creating the military that they want in case we need it. You know, I see the same thing in police. So often, I know it's just, oh, you old guys, you know, nothing's, no. Well, we had some duds in my day, I'll be honest. They didn't last long, you know. But the many of the police, not all, we have some exceptional law enforcement out there. But not everybody is exceptional just because they're in law enforcement or the military. There's a lot of people out there that really can't do the job. And you don't know it until real life presents itself. You know, they can go through the motions until it gets down and dirty. And that's what reveals a person. And when it reveals what they are, sometimes it doesn't reveal what you had wished for, right? So anyway, that's just those are just my thoughts on this. No, don't let these people say. Are we going to war? Well, I mean, the world is a nutso place, right? We could be. We are already at war. I mean, we have people. I can't tell you what I know or how I know it. Let me just say, we have real world stuff going everywhere, all the time, right? It's just that it doesn't make the papers. But if something happens to make the papers, we want a military that's the military we want, right? So that's what I think this is all about. We're going to see a lot of retirements. We're going to see a lot of grumbling. And then hopefully we will see a return to the warrior ethos that so many good military people have upheld and value. And the danger is, though, here's the danger. These things change every 4 years, right? Every 4 or 8 years, these things change. So it could be good now. And it goes in, you know, every Democrats, they get in, they destroy the military. The next Republican has to build it back up. Democrat gets in, destroys the military. You know, that's why recruitment goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's too bad, because our country needs a military that is stable and is independent of the, I won't say independent of civilian authority. I believe in the civilian authority of over the military, but of capricious political changes, because that's what keeps us secure. All right, enough of that. Are we going to war? I don't know. Don't let people scare you about it. Okay, get up, live your day, live your life, the life the good Lord gave you. Do what He tells you. Live a wonderful life, and do your best. And you won't be all frantic all the time. Okay, all right. Hey, looking forward to seeing those of you who will be with us at the gathering this Saturday. Not going to talk about it much anymore. Probably put up some videos from it for everybody next week. But looking forward to seeing everybody there. Can't wait. And remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And we don't run around being scared and afraid and frazzled and stuff like that just because people come on and say, things are horrible, we're going to war, and the economy's collapsing. And your life's going to be what you make it, so make it a good one. You all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.